The galaxy had many kinds of killers. Some hunted for money, some for vengeance, and a rare few for the thrill of the chase. But Rain Talvek, he hunted for silence, the kind that follows after a scream, the quiet that fills the air when a warlord's reign ends and no one dares to speak his name again. For over a century, Rain had walked the star lanes as a ghost. His armor, a matte black exosuit of unknown alloy, was older than most empires. The faint crimson gleam across his visor was the last thing thousands had ever seen. From the smog-clouded underworlds of the Draxan Belt to the cold, corporate strongholds of the Syndicate worlds, the whisper of his name alone was enough to make assassins cancel contracts and smugglers scrub data drives clean. They called him the Faungless Beast, because when Rain hunted you, you never saw the teeth. But there was something else that made his legend more terrifying than any kill count, something that crossed languages and species barriers like gospel. Never hunt humans. No one remembered where the phrase came from. No one remembered when it started. But every mercenary, pirate, and bounty broker in the Orion Arm knew the rule. Break it, and the Faungless Beast comes for you. There were stories, of course. Whispers that he once found a dozen hunters who had taken a contract on a Terran colony. The next day, their ships were found drifting near the event horizon of a black hole, engines offline, oxygen gone, and each pilot's body pinned to the hull by plasma bolts. The words, "You were warned," were carved into the cockpit glass. It wasn't superstition. It was survival instinct. The galaxy had moved on from humanity centuries ago. Earth was a myth, Sol a graveyard dying light. The Exodus wars had scattered the human species across hundreds of systems. Some adapted, others perished. And those who survived, they learned to vanish. The Galactic Council labeled them a destabilizing species. Too emotional, too unpredictable, too inventive. So the Council outlawed human fleets, restricted their colonies, and erased their war archives from galactic memory. But those who fought against them, those who tried to exterminate them, remembered. They remembered the last human war, the war that scorched the Perseus Arm, the war that ended when human ships detonated stars rather than surrender. So when a human bounty appeared again on the galactic network, a live target, high value, no questions asked, most hunters ignored it. The price was tempting, but not worth damnation. Most hunters, not all, in the silence of a derelict outpost orbiting Vega Prime, Rain Talvek sat alone in the cockpit of his ship, the Black Fong. The vessel was old, a scarred predator of steel and void, its engines humming like a sleeping beast. The soft glow of data screens painted the walls in shifting blues and reds. He had been tracking the pulse of the criminal network, watching the bounty rise from 10 million to a full 1 billion Galcreds. Whoever wanted this human was desperate and powerful. Then the message came. No encryption, no signature, just 5 words. "They're hunting humans again, Rain." He read it once, twice, a third time. The metallic fingers of his glove trembled for the first time in decades. From a compartment beneath his console, he pulled out a small, rusted relic, an old Terran dog tag, its surface worn and scarred with age. The inscription was barely legible, but he knew it by heart. UNSC 5129, Captain Elias Vance. He closed his fist around it, feeling the cool metal press against his palm. He remembered the fire, the screams, the captain's final words. "Protect them, Rain, no matter what we become." He had protected the memory of humanity all these years. He had made himself their myth, their monster, their avenger in the shadows. And now someone, some fool, had broken the one law that kept the stars quiet. He rose from the pilot's chair, his movement a whisper of servos and power cables. One by one, the lights in the cockpit dimmed. The Black Fong's AI hummed to life, its voice smooth and cold. "AI, new mission parameters, Hunter." Rain's voice was low, almost a growl. "Set course for Carthian 9. Target, bounty origin. AI, council jurisdiction. High threat probability. Engage cloak. Prepare jump." He slid the dog tag into a slot near the command panel. The old metal shimmered as it linked with the ship's power core. Terran steel meeting Terran fury. Outside the viewport, the void trembled. Stars bent, space folded, and the black fong vanished. Far across the galaxy, in the neon-lit depths of a mercenary hub, laughter echoed to the haze of smoke and plasma fumes. A dozen alien hunters sat around a holographic bounty projection, an image of a woman with dark hair and gray eyes. Human, unarmed. The leader, a scale brute from the Paraxian clans, grinned. 1 billion gal creds for a soft-skinned scientist? Easy money. Another mercenary snorted, adjusting his weapon. What about the old Terran myth? The one about that bounty freak? Talvek, the leader interrupted, his laugh sharp. Old ghost stories. No one's seen him in decades. They all laughed. The bounty light flickered across their faces like fire. But in the shadowed corner of the room, a crimson glow blinked once, then went out. High above the smuggler moon, a cloaked ship drifted silently through the clouds, its sensors locked on the heat signatures below. Within the cockpit, Rain watched the mercenaries through thermal lenses. He didn't move, didn't speak. He simply waited, the dog tag resting against his chest plate, glowing faintly from the power of the ship's heart. "Never hunt humans," he whispered. The words were not a threat. They were a promise. He switched his plasma rifle to silent mode. The targeting reticles aligned. His HUD lit up with 12 red outlines, targets acquired. The black fong systems pulsed in unison, power channels rising to lethal levels. Somewhere in the distance, thunder cracked across Carthian's atmosphere. But in the silence of the void, no one heard the first shots fired. By the time the first mercenaries noticed the blood pooling beneath their feet, Rain was already gone. Only the bounty projection remained, flickering over the table, now stained with plasma scorch marks. The message on it had changed. For words, burning across the display, "You were warned." And so it began again. The legend of the galaxy's deadliest bounty hunter. The shadow who hunts the hunters. The last weapon of a forgotten world. Rain Talvek had spoken once more, and somewhere in the black, the stars themselves seemed to tremble as his ship disappeared into hyperspace. The galaxy had forgotten why it feared humanity. It was about to remember. The smuggler moon Carthian, 9 hung in space like a dying ember, a wasteland of rusted towers, acid storms, and lawless ambition. Once a mining colony, it had long since become a nest with scavengers, mercenaries, and everything the Galactic Council preferred not to see. But on this night, the moon was alive with hunters, and every one of them was chasing the same thing. A human. Across the networks, across every dark feed and bounty chain, one contract burned brighter than all the rest. Target, Dr. Alara Vance, human geneticist, alive or dead. Reward, 1.2 billion gal creds. The council claimed she was a war criminal. The underworld whispered she discovered something worse, something the council wanted buried. No one cared which was true, not when the bounty could buy a fleet. Above the rotting moon, a shadow drifted silently through the sulfur clouds. Rain Talvek's ship, the Black Fong. Cloaked, silent, hunting. Rain stood before the main viewport, his armored frame lit by the pulse of holographic data. Lines of intercepted transmissions scrolled across his HUD. Squad routes, merc chatter, payment orders. He read them all like a conductor studying a symphony of greed. AI. Estimate. 1,423 active hunters on Carthian 9 surface. 23 guild detachments inbound. Primary sectors, North Industrial, Old Terran Ruins, Deep Reactor Valley. Rain's visor dimmed. They'll choke each other before they find her. AI. Do we warn them? He shook his head slowly. No. Let them run. Let them think they're predators. He tightened his gauntlet, the metal flexing with a low growl of servos. They'll learn soon enough. He descended through the moon's atmosphere like a ghost, his stealth thrusters whispering through the toxic fog. The ground below was a chaos of movement. Landing ships, fire bursts, beacons cutting to the haze like dying stars. Carthian's underbelly pulsed with greed. Rain landed in the ruins of an old cargo yard, the skeleton of forgotten Terran outposts from the Exodus era. The walls bore the faded crest of the UNSC and slogans no alien could read anymore. He moved silently through the rubble, each step measured, his armor blending with the storm. His HUD lit up with enemy heat signatures. Small teams, spread wide, moving fast. Perfect. He stalked the first group near the refinery district. 6 mercs from the Zorthian Syndicate, armed with plasma lances and arrogance. They never saw him coming. A plasma bolt cut through the night. The first merc went down before he could scream. The second spun, raising his rifle, only to find nothing but fog. Then came the sound, a low hum, the kind that rattles in your bones. Rain appeared behind him like a shadow uncoiling from the dark. His blade flared to life, pure blue plasma humming along an ancient Terran hilt. 3 strikes, 3 bodies. The others broke formation, firing wildly into the mist. Their beams hit only rust and rain. When the fog cleared, all that remained were 6 bodies, and a message burned into the steel wall behind them in molten slag. Never hunt humans. The word spread fast. Too fast. Within hours, comms were filled with panic. Hunters were vanishing, their ships found hollowed out, their crews gone. Others claimed to hear whispers in the fog, to see red light blinking before death came. The legends had returned. The hunter was real. But the galaxy didn't believe in legends anymore, and those who did were quickly replaced by the ones who didn't. More fleets arrived. Bigger, meaner, desperate for the billion-credit prize. And that was when Rain found the truth. Inside an abandoned comm station buried beneath the moon's surface, he hacked into the bounty origin. Lines of encrypted code filled the screen. At first, it looked like a usual underworld contract, mass coordinates, payout relays. Then he found it, the authorization stamp. Origin, Galactic Council, Internal Operations Division. He froze. That wasn't greed. That was policy. The Council hadn't just allowed the hunt. They'd started it. Rain's voice came low, colder than the void. They'd broken their own laws. The AI hummed softly. AI! Correction. They've rewritten them. He turned from the console, his jaw set. Not this time. Minutes later, the galaxy's criminal undernet lit up with a new transmission, and signed untraceable, but stamped with a symbol everyone knew. A single faungless skull etched in crimson. All bounties on humans are canceled. Those who continue the hunt will be hunted. The message spread like fire. Guilds panicked. Brokers vanished. Bounty boards went dark. And in the chaos, fleets mobilized. The powerful ones, the Council's enforcers, refused to yield. They saw Rain's interference as defiance, and defiance had to be crushed. By dawn, the skies above Carthian, 9 burned with the entry streaks of warships. Hundreds, the largest bounty hunt in galactic history, had turned into an invasion. Rain sensors caught it all. AI, 37 Council-class warcruisers inbound. Siege configuration. He stood motionless, staring at the storm clouds glowing with engine fire. He had fought in wars, seen fleets die, watched stars burn. But this was an extermination. He activated his locator, the beacon he'd spent years refusing to use. A faint signal pulsed back from the surface, deep within the canyon maze. Target found. He descended into the canyon, his cloak flickering with the strain. Acid rain hissed across his armor. He moved fast, ghosting past drones and searchlights, slipping between scanning beams. The signal led him to a small bunker hidden in the roots of a collapsed mining shaft. The door was sealed by a human-coded lock. Terran design. He pressed his hand to the scanner. It accepted him instantly. The door opened with a hiss. Inside, a woman looked up from a flickering console, her face pale, her eyes sharp with defiance. She held a plasma pistol in trembling hands. "Stay where you are," she said. Rain didn't move. He lowered his visor, revealing the faint outline of the UNSC crest burned into his chest plate. Her eyes widened. "That armor, where did you get it?" He took a slow step forward, voice deep and calm. "Dr. Alara Vance?" She hesitated. "Who's asking?" "The last man between you and extinction." She frowned, disbelief and fear battling across her face. "You're human." "Half," he said quietly. "Half's enough." For a moment, Silence filled the bunker. The distant thunder of Council warships echoed overhead, shaking the ground. Rain extended a small weathered object, a dog tag, gleaming faintly under the console light. Captain Elias Vance. You know that name? Her breath caught. He was my ancestor. Then you should know why they're hunting you, Rain said, his voice dropping to a growl. And why I'm here to stop them. Outside, explosions thundered through the sky. The war had come. The galaxy's greatest hunter had chosen his side. And for the first time in centuries, humanity had a protector again. The bunker trembled as the first orbital blasts hit the surface above. Dust and sparks rained from the ceiling as Rain Talvek sealed the entrance with a gesture, magnetic locks grinding into place. The entire structure shuddered, but it held. Inside, Dr. Lara Vance stared at the towering figure before her, the half-human legend, the ghost who hunted hunters. His armor was scarred, his presence electric, like the air before a lightning strike. She lowered her weapon slowly. I didn't think anyone would come. Rain turned to the flickering console. The hollow screen projected a flood of encrypted data, molecular schematics, genetic strands, neural interface designs. Human, ancient. They came for this, he said, scanning the symbols. Your research. Elara nodded grimly. I've been trying to restore something we lost, something humanity once used to survive the impossible. Rain's visor reflected her face. The exhaustion, the desperation, but beneath it, something more. Hope. What kind of weapon? He asked. She smiled faintly. Not a weapon. A memory. She tapped a command, and the hollow image expanded into shape a massive neural web. Strands of light connecting points across space. It's called the Unity Protocol, the last network of the old Earth fleets. It allowed human minds to synchronize across vast distances, to fight, think, and build as one. Every ship, every soldier, connected by thought. Rain's breath caught, a flash of something flickering in his eyes. Recognition. I've heard of it, he said quietly. The final war. They said humans didn't fight as individuals. They fought like a storm. Elara nodded. That's why the Council fears us. They say humans are extinct, but they know the truth. We fractured. The protocol was shattered when Soul burned. I've spent my life trying to rebuild it. She paused, her eyes meeting his. And now, they've sent half the galaxy to erase what's left. Outside, the ground roared again as orbital cannons struck the canyons. The bunker lights flickered, briefly revealing the old Terran insignia carved into the wall. United Nations Space Command. Rain stepped closer. They'll burn this planet to ash before they let you finish. Then we finish before they do. Elara opened a case beside her console. Inside, a crystalline sphere pulsed with faint blue light, its surface engraved with Terran runes. This is the core, a fragment of the original Unity lattice. It's still alive. Rain stared at it, all cutting through his hardened expression. He could feel it, a vibration in the air, like a heartbeat synced to his own. You found it, he murmured. My family's line protected it for generations, she said, passed down since the fall of Soul. Elias Vance, my ancestor, helped design it. He left messages in its code, his final orders. At the sound of that name, Rain removed the dog tag from around his neck and placed it on the table. Elara froze. Where did you get that? He gave it to me, Rain said quietly, on Arcadia Station, during the evacuation. I was a child, half-blood, refugee, worthless to most. He didn't see it that way. He saved me from the fires, said I'd need to remember who I was. The bunker fell silent, except for the distant thunder of war above. Two souls, bound by the same ghost. Elara's voice softened. Then we finish his work together. The Black Fong's AI transmitted updates through Rain's neural link. Council fleets entering low orbit, deploying ground drones. Entire divisions. AI. T-minus 6 minutes before surface bombardment. Recommend retreat. Rain's eyes narrowed. Not retreat. Defense grid. He turned to Elara. Can you integrate the core into my ship systems? It's not designed for military use. Neither was I. She hesitated, then smiled grimly. Let's make history angry again. They worked in synchronized silence. Illyra rerouted the bunker's energy into the core, while Rain uploaded the ship's AI into the lattice. Sparks danced across the walls as ancient Terran tech fused with modern circuitry. The core pulsed brighter, tendrils of light crawling across Rain's armor, embedding into the cracks. His neural links surged with raw data, memories, code, fragments of old Earth languages. Voices whispered in his mind. Captain Elias Vance, last log entry. To whoever finds this, humanity's fire must never die. We are not conquerors. We are the consequence. Rain gritted his teeth, every nerve burning as the core synchronized with his body. The connection was overwhelming. Not pain, not pleasure, but remembrance. For the first time in centuries, the Unity Protocol lived again. Connection established, the AI reported, now speaking with two voices, one human, one machine. All dormant Terran drones in system responding. Illyra stared at the radar feed. Thousands of red blips began to appear across the moon's surface. Old defense drones, long buried and forgotten, powering up one by one. "You're waking them," she whispered. Rain clenched his fists, armor flaring with blue energy. "No," he said. "We're waking us." Above them, the Council fleet moved into formation. Enormous dreadnoughts glided through clouds, their cannons glowing with plasma light. Admiral Cryos of the Council leaned forward in his command chair, sneering. "Burn it. No survivors." As the orbital lances charged, the void itself began to shift. Power readings spiked. Unidentified signals erupted across the system, a storm of encrypted frequencies older than the Council itself. Then, from the moon's surface, a beam of blue light shot into the heavens, straight from the ruins. Inside the bunker, alarm screamed as systems overloaded. Illyra's hair whipped around her face, electricity crackling through the air. "It's working, it's linking." Rain's voice was steady, calm amidst the storm. "How far?" "Not just here. The entire sector. Old Terran units. They're responding to the core." "Then let them come." The holographic map bloomed with red, then turned gold. One by one, ancient Terran warforms activated from stasis pods buried under centuries of dust. Orbital satellites came online, their targeting arrays locking onto the invading fleet. And then, through the neural link, Rain heard them, the voices of soldiers long gone. Unity confirmed. Status awake. Objective: defend humanity. He looked to Illyra. They remember. Then the galaxy will too. Outside, the sky ignited. Terran drones burst from the ground in synchronized formation, engines howling with fury. They cut through the atmosphere like a rising storm, sleek, dark, and precise. Council ships opened fire, but the drones moved as one, weaving through plasma fire, tearing apart cruisers with surgical efficiency. Each drone carried the same insignia burned into their hulls, a faded blue emblem of the UNSC, a ghost fleet reborn. Rain and Illyra watched the battle unfold on the hollow feed. He reached for his helmet, locking it in place. "The Unity Protocol is live," she said. "You can command them." Rain's voice lowered, almost reverent. "I don't need to command them. I just need to remember who we were." He stepped toward the exit, the door splitting open to reveal the inferno outside. His armor blazed with blue light. The fire of humanity reborn. "You'll die out there." Illyra called after him. He glanced back, visor gleaming. "Then I'll die as what I was meant to be." The hunter of legends rose into the storm, the black Fong, descending to meet him. The planet burned. A dying world under siege. Carthian, 9 was once a mining hub, a barren rock rich in thorium veins and buried secrets. Now, it was a stage for the galaxy's oldest nightmare. Armored ships streaked through the blood-red sky, raining molten death upon the surface. Every blast carved trenches of light into the ground. The air shimmered with ion fire. And in the middle of that chaos stood a lone figure, Rain Talvek, his armor scorched, his visor cracked, his weapon glowing with overcharged heat. Behind him, a human scientist, Dr. Illyra Vance, stumbled through the wreckage, clutching a data core the size of her hand. Within it pulsed something that terrified the Council so deeply they had ordered her death. Humanity's last archive. Keep moving. Rain growled through the comms. We're almost there. Above them, 3 council dreadnoughts broke through clouds, their hulls bristling with rail cannons. A voice thundered from orbital speakers, metallic, divine, merciless. Unknown combatant, stand down. You are protecting a restricted species. Surrender immediately or be annihilated. Rain turned his gaze skyward. The crimson light across his visor flickered once. Try me. The return of the fangless beast. The black fang burst from the canyons below like a creature of myth, thrusters screaming. The ship's AI synced with Rain's neural link instantly. AI! Weapons hot. Multiple dreadnoughts inbound. Rain, prioritize shields. Route all remaining power to forward plasma array. AI! Warning, that will destabilize the core. Rain, then let it burn. The black fang shot into the stratosphere, a comet wrapped in shadow. Its plasma cannons blazed, carving through the lead dreadnought's armor like paper. Explosions rippled across its surface, venting atmosphere and flame. But there were too many. Missiles screamed through the void, slamming into the fang's hull. Warning alarms roared through the cockpit. AI! Structural integrity compromised. Rain, don't care. Target second ship. He fired again, one last overcharged burst, the kind forbidden by every sane pilot. The beam struck the dreadnought's reactor core. For a heartbeat, the sky became a miniature sun. And then silence. 2 ships gone. 1 hunter left. The ghost of humanity. Dr. Alera reached the old Terran relay, a relic half buried in the dirt. It was built in humanity's golden age, when they had dreamed of reaching every star. Now it was dead metal, a grave marker. It's useless, she cried. The relay's offline. Rain landed beside her, the shockwave of his arrival kicking up a storm of dust and ash. He placed a dog tag, Captain Elias Vance's, against the relay's interface. The old steel shimmered. Circuits lit. The machine woke up. Terran command code recognized. The relay AI said, voice ancient and crackling, awaiting signal origin. Alera looked at him in disbelief. That tag, where did you? Your ancestor, Rain said quietly. He was my commander. She stared. Then you're not human, he finished, but made by them, built to protect what they left behind. The truth hit her like a thunderclap. The bounty hunter, the myth, the ghost of the galaxy, was not a man. He was a relic of humanity's war machine, a guardian construct, one of the last autonomous protectors created to ensure humanity's survival. And for centuries, he had obeyed one directive burned into his core. Never let them hunt humans again. The awakening. The sky tore open as the last dreadnought descended, engine screaming. Dozens of troop transports fell through the clouds like burning meteors. Thousands of soldiers hit the ground, forming a living tide of armor and plasma fire. Rain stood at the center, his armor flickering with failing power. He turned to Alera. Activate the relay. Send the signal. I'll hold them. You'll die. Then I'll die doing what I was made for. The first wave hit. Plasma bolts filled the air, carving through rock and dust. Rain moved like a shadow of lightning. Every step a blur, every shot precise. His rifle roared until it melted. Then he switched to his blade, a weapon forged from Terran alloys that hummed with ancient energy. He tore through soldiers like smoke. Every movement was a storm, but numbers were endless. The enemy pushed closer. Explosions ripped the ground apart. His armor cracked. Circuits failed. AI gasp status. Core at 12%. Suggest retreat. Negative. Redirect core to relay amplification. That will kill you. It'll wake them. The AI hesitated. Then, softly, good hunting, Rain. He tore the dog tag from his armor and slammed it into the relay's heart. A surge of light exploded across the horizon. The air itself screamed. The echo of Earth. In that moment, across 1,000 systems, old machines stirred. Derelict Terran satellites, forgotten defense stations, orbital wrecks, all flickered back to life. Ancient AIs buried for eons received one signal. They're hunting humans again. On forgotten worlds, human war forms open glowing eyes. On dead moons, Terran ships powered up in their graves. In deep space, something vast and metallic shifted beneath the darkness. The stars remembered humanity, and they were angry. The last stand. The dreadnought's main cannon powered up, ready to vaporize the surface. Rain, standing atop the relay, looked up one last time. The crimson light in his visor dimmed, fading into calm. "Captain Vance," he whispered, "I kept my promise." The cannon fired. A beam of pure annihilation engulfed the planet's surface. But before it hit, the relay erupted. A column of white light shot into orbit, piercing the dreadnought's core. For a single perfect instant, the beam carried Rain's consciousness across the stars, into every Terran AI that still dreamed. Then the world went silent. Aftermath. Weeks later, the galaxy trembled. Council fleets vanished. Pirate armadas burned. And on every world where humans still hid, skies filled with streaks of light. Ancient ships arriving to protect their scattered kin. Whispers spread again. "The faungless beast is gone." "No," others said, "he's everywhere now." Because Rain was no longer a hunter of flesh. He was a signal woven into the network of Terran war machines. A ghost in every system, every sensor, every weapon. And wherever a bounty was placed on a human, the warning appeared first. Never hunt humans. Epilogue, The New Dawn. Dr. Alara Vance stood beneath the twin suns of a new colony, a world reclaimed by humanity's return. Children laughed in the fields, building homes beneath banners marked with the old Terran insignia. She wore a small chain around her neck, a dog tag, scorched and broken, the letters faint but eternal. UNSC 5129, Captain Elias Vance. And beneath it, scratched by hand, R. Talvek, Guardian. Above, in orbit, 1,000 Terran warships aligned, their hulls shining like stars reborn. A new message pulsed through the galactic network, unstoppable, undeniable. The age of silence is over. Humanity remembers. And somewhere in that endless dark, a familiar voice whispered to the static. Calm, patient, eternal. Good hunting.